We are on air. Boom. We are here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the live stream. This is episode 54 of One With The Films. We are talking about To Wong Foo. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. And yeah, live taping of the episode. So, Kate, you can kick us off. Well, let me just mute whatever's going on there as well. Everything else looks clean.
Hey, what's going on behind you, dude? Can we address the screen?
I was trying to get my setting up. It's like it's giving me 17 different ads. And it's like it's trying to. I
want
have
a break from the ads.
Is it a poltergeist situation? Is there like a long-haired girl going to crawl out of it? What's going on?
Definitely, the long-haired girl of capitalism is trying to get me, and so
everything we want.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you guys are in chat, feel free to send any messages, any reactions. We always love like hearing from you as well. We've got Zane Burns in chat saying, "Yes, Stef."
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
We are, baby. All and right. Also, please help us out. We're babies. So if any issues with audio or anything like that, please let me know. Thank you very much.
Just let us know.
We're not famous or rich enough to have like side producers yet. I'm doing it all on my own. Okay.
And like, I'm not, I can't see the chat and I'm not fixing shit. I am the passenger princess on this show.
You are the passenger princess of this show.
It's my favorite way to be.
And so,
you deserve it. All right, kids. Well, Kate, we're ready when you are, man.
All right, let's do this. All right. Hey, all you early birds, hooligans, and mulligans, who's ready to get fabulous? It's that One With The Films o'clock, and we're ready to fucking go with another incredible show for you guys. While no one knows what truly lies ahead, you know for damn sure that it's going to be insane, fun, and occasionally heartfelt. But who are we? Well, wouldn't you like to know? Depends on who's asking, Frank, and I thought I told you to never come in here again while I'm recording. Any hoozle. I'm that bodacious bimbo, that flyby who knows how to sigh, that guy who's going to try to convert his buddy to the west side. It's Kay, also known as Keegan, and if I was a drag queen, you know I'd be named Kira Debutante, also known as the Bearded Lady. But now for this hero, joining me today, way too early for an Aussie on a Sunday, the man who wakes up this pretty, that little Latin boy in drag, that queer, that revere, the last shittier, the iconic comic with a gin and tonic. It's Naff, also known as Naffamus, and his drag name would be...
Hold on, what?
Your drag name would be...
No, I've been waiting my whole life for this moment.
Introduce yourself, baby.
Jesus Christa, la Salvadoreña. That's me, Jesus. I'm Jesus.
Wow.
There you go. There you go. There we go. You are this world's Jesus. There we go.
I am.
Absolutely.
I'm the last Jesus, if you will.
The last Jesus. So, all right. But, well, first off, good morning. Good morning, my friend.
Hi.
Absolutely. But we are not alone. Joining us after just delivering a fresh can of whoop-ass to the trolls of the internet, the endlessly fabulous, newly reborn after feasting on the tears of her enemies, but with the wonderful set of notes and incredible sense of style, half of the iconic Dark Side holodeck and formerly but nonetheless still marvelous Divas duo. It's always an honor and a privilege to have her join us and come over to the weird side of the force. It's Stef from Dark Side Divas. Come on, Stef. There we
are. That's a much better intro than I give myself on my own damn podcast. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, sweetie. That's what we do here.
And my work here is done. Thank you. That's where I tap out.
Well done.
I think a little odd that you called us the weird side of the force, given their whole vibe on the podcast. We're collectively weird together. Look, nobody's coming over to weird.
I do feel that we occupy that liminal space in the force that is neither like light nor dark, but it just is there, and no one wants to talk about it.
It's like we were saying off strangers before as well. Time doesn't exist in this little space right now. This little void.
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
A couple more messages in chat. Charles says, "I will never pass up an opportunity to listen to Steph talk about movies if I have the chance." And neither would we, Charles. That's why we're here, baby. Ken says, hello there, good people. Chris says, heart, what dat? And then Charles says, heart is not a thing you have, Chris. And then Chris said, I sold it for money. So we're setting the tone of this chat right now, baby.
Listen, gotta love this chat. This is setting up to be like, I thought we were already unhinged. This is gonna just to take that the next step up.
Let's go.
Stef, obviously, we are so excited to have you for your second time on the podcast. Thank you for coming back and joining us again.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
It's always a fun time when the Divs are around. But a reminder to listeners that you can find One With The Films on all your favorite podcasting platforms of choice, as well as live and on demand right here. And as we said before, if you're in the live chat, please feel free to join in the conversation. We always love to hear from you. And if you're listening on demand, don't worry, we still love you. And I learned the other day that you can leave comments on Spotify. So go crazy, Queen. Go crazy.
Dang. All right. Well, we'll have to find a way to use that in something that we'll forget about. But nonetheless, that being said, Neff, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what we're doing here today, especially for those who are the uninitiated up here?
Absolutely. So today's an episode of the Weekly Watch List. And the Weekly Watch List is what happens when a bunch of friends with unique and wonderful taste in films have tried too hard for too long to finally share and discuss their favorite films with one another. And if you've been around for a while, you already know the shtick. However, for the uninitiated, the idea is that for every episode, at least one person is watching the chosen film for the first time. So it's all about having a space for creators to share the art that matters most to them and then give them a platform to show us all why. So if you guys like listening to a bunch of nerds geek out and force each other to watch and then discuss their favorite films for the very first time, please feel free to follow and or subscribe. And you can send us to your friends if you like, and you can also activate notifications so you never miss a new episode. And of course, we're on all your favorite socials as well, so links are in the descriptions below. That's us, baby.
Absolutely. So
some
without
great
further ado,
spiel. I like that.
Hey, absolutely.
And it wasn't Chat GPT, it was Chat NAF. That's me, Naf. It was me. I wrote it all.
Chat NAF.
I'm basically an AI at this point.
But with a touch of autism, so there's just a couple of bugs that just need to like kind of like go in there.
That's the acronym.
That's the one.
Fuck shit. That's good. Damn. I didn't mean to set you up so hard, but you just knocked that out of the park. Now,
you always get me hard, baby. I mean, shit.
I can go.
Damn.
If you guys want a minute? I can give you the room. It's okay.
He hasn't woken up enough. He's saying things he doesn't mean. But nonetheless, Stef.
Yeah.
What's a brilliant film that not enough people have seen?
Well, I would love to throw you a curveball and just name a completely different movie than what we already talked about here, and just be like,
everybody's
Let's talk
temptation.
about that. Kia Fonda is making honey. Let's watch that one real quick. But no.
The river runs through it. It's just...
You just want to cry just a lot, just a whole lot. And then get eaten by a bear. Anyway, there's a movie that I feel like everyone, particularly the LGBT community, should get into, and that's To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, which is an incredibly ungraceful title, and I love it.
I loved that I was like, how are they going to make this like fit into the story? Like what is this title? And then I was like, oh.
Not gently.
Yeah, right? It's not subtle. It's like, oh,
nope.
I'm going to yoink that.
We're going to say that repeatedly and then carry the picture.
I guess this really is the Fellowship of the Ring. Like that's the energy.
Yeah, but it came out in 1995, was directed by Beeban Kidron, which I have a lot of interesting information on when we get to our fun facts in a little bit.
Nice.
Oh, bro.
I had actually never heard of this director until I pulled up the IMDb page for this movie today.
Dude.
So
that's
I
fantastic.
had no idea. Yeah.
It's about to go wild. It's about to go wild.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And so now, Stef, if you had to describe in one sentence why you chose this film or why people should be into it, like what would you say?
Give us your pitch, baby.
Oh my God. Your elevator pitch. The title of the movie is one sentence. How am I supposed to sum up the movie in one sentence? It is this is like queer culture it's Hollywood's perception of queer culture done as respectfully as possible, as campily as possible, with some of the straightest dudes they could get their hands on from Hollywood, who embraced and adored this project. And you can feel every ounce of love while you're laughing your ass off.
Yeah, they really committed to the bit on this one, didn't they?
Oh my God.
Like,
they were so adorable.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
John Leguizamo is like, yeah, it disappears. Leguizamo, yeah, disappears into this character. It's wild.
It's so good. It's so good.
Charles in chat said that I remember when my ex told me the title of this movie, and I went, "What?" And then Ken says how 3 of the greatest actors got their humble beginnings. And then Chris said best movie title of all time.
Oh, listen, I think that there's definitely it's up there with like some of the longest titles of all time, and I fucking love it.
I feel like if you've got a movie title that makes people lose interest halfway through you saying it, and then get them back at the end with like, "Oh, you're still talking," and it's still the movie title. Like, I think you've really captured something there.
It's very like Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
You know, or like, Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah. Like that kind of like, that's a lot of words. There you go.
Absolutely. Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Birdman or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
Let's just list movies with long titles.
We can do that for 2 hours.
I debated on that being my cinema a la carte, by the way. I debated that being the theme. But it was... it's so curious to me to see a title that actually has punctuation in it. That's what really throws me off. And so, but nonetheless, Naf, what did you know about this film going in?
Oh my God, nothing. And if you want to see my genuine reaction to what this film is, you have to go back and listen to our Birdcage episode from season 2, because literally it's Stef going, "You guys should watch To Wong Foo. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar." I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh, that's Wesley Snipes in drag." And I was like, hold on a fucking minute.
I think you saw in both our eyes, it was just like the dollar signs have sold. Just that was it.
Literally exactly how it happened. But so that's what I knew going into this. I knew that it was Patrick Swayze, John Leguizamo, and Wesley Snipes, and they were going to be in drag. I didn't realize until the ending of the film that I actually had seen the last scene with Vida Boheme, the Adam's Apple scene. I come across that on TikTok at some point, but like I didn't realize until it was playing that I was like, "Oh, this is that movie." Like I didn't even connect the Vida Boheme. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. What the fuck? And there's a beautiful, wonderful cameo in this, which again ties back to our Birdcage episode, which I had no idea was going to be there, and like
same.
I love him with
I
my
deliberately
whole heart.
did not mention that.
I'm so glad that you didn't. The second you showed up on the screen, I was just like, my whole heart was full. I was like, I'm ready for this. I'm so ready. And not even credited.
It sent me down an autistic rabbit hole, like of advocacy and things there where I was just very curious, and I was like, fucking metal.
And he's not even credited in the film at all. Like but Kay, what about you, dude? Like obviously we had a very similar reaction, but
yeah, same as you. I knew nothing. I was pretty sure that, like, kind of stuff as you were saying, like when you say the name out loud, I had that genuine reaction of, I can't wrap my head around this title. Is that the full thing, or is that like the tagline? What's happening? And
one sentence, but not even a colon.
But I love it. But yeah, I just, ever since you mentioned it, it was definitely one of those, oh my God, I need to see this. And so that was that. But Stef, put us in your shoes when you saw this for the first time. Like, what was the context? What was sort of that for you?
So when I was a teenager, I was a lot. I was
waiting for more than that. It's like, just a lot. It's just a lot.
No.
Just that's it.
And so my dad would try to basically scoop me up out of my my teenager headspace and transport me elsewhere. And so we would drive all the way up from NASA Country into downtown Houston to this art house movie theater. And that's where I saw Blair Witch Project for the first time with no context. I had no idea what it was, and neither did he. And he regretted taking me to see it after that. But yeah, we would go and just watch whatever movie was coming up next. And in 1995, To Wong Foo was released initially in these art house theaters. I don't know if it ever made it to big cinema because it's such a cult movie, right? And so that was whatever movie was coming up next was this crazy ass title. So I knew nothing about it going into it. But we get in there and I'm like, is that Sam from Ghost? What is happening? And it's such a fake out because the first 30 seconds are just like, what's up, Swayze? Get out of that shower. You dry off, honey. And all right, mama's getting ready and we're going into full drag here. So yeah, no, it was my dad took me to see it. And and that was really cool. He was so cool. It wasn't like a, older man suddenly scandalized by this. He thought it was hilarious.
It wasn't one of those films that like he's experiencing what the characters experienced.
It's just fucking hilarious. Yeah. It's so good.
It is.
So, but then after that, it's the sort of the press all around it, and just watching these guys, these actors, handle a press that really wanted them to make fun of their own movie. That really wanted them to be like, oh, the drag thing. Oh, it's so ridiculous. And they were so respectful. And so like talking about the craft of it in all of their interviews, it made me fall in love with all three of them and really like locked this movie into my budding queer heart. So.
Yeah. Understandably. Like it's beautiful. And we're going to get into it, but that aspect of the movie, I think is what particularly touched me. And so, but Neff, you have drawn up some fun facts for us today. And so why don't you educate us a little bit more about this film?
Yeah, I will. I shall. Oh, my cat is here. Sammy.
Oh.
Nope, she's gone.
Oh!
You may have heard a little jingle. I too jingle when I walk. I don't know what happened there. My parents hate it, but anyway. So
I find putting a bell on the child is actually really helpful,
isn't it?
See, I believe it. Like, I believe it. That's why it's like, if you want jewelry, you can have all.
Okay, so today in Australia marks the 29th anniversary of this film, hitting theaters on the 8th of September 1995, where it remained in the.
Are we back? Are we back?
We will be.
I think we're back. It looks like
we're just gonna do some little fixies here. Boom. Okay. We should be back now.
Hold on. We have the template. There we go. Now it's back.
We're good, baby.
All right, there we are. I would like to point out that Charles has indicated that this is somehow Chris's fault, and we will take that.
We agree.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
100% it is. Yes. Yeah. Chris, be better.
Absolutely.
Okay. Not that guy from TikTok.
The glare from the top of his dome interfere with the satellites.
Look, it is 7:23 a.m. in Australia. My computer hasn't quite woken up yet, sweetie. I will fuck you up. Sorry.
Oh my God, just how mom used to wake me up.
Chat, quit that.
Correct. Got it.
Oh my God. So,
you were fun factsing, right?
Got some fun facts.
Yeah, so, I think that's where we were ending up. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, fun facts. Let's go back to the start here. The drawing board.
Mm-hmm.
Today in Australia marks the 29th anniversary of this film, hitting theaters on the 8th of September 1995, where it remained in the #1 spot for 2 weeks, with a $47.8 million gross off its $30 million budget. The film holds a 3.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd, but is rated significantly lower on IMDb and Metacritic, with a 6.7 out of 10 and a 60 out of 100, respectively. It stars Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John Leguizamo, and was directed by Beeban Kidron, whose last film was released in 2013 to mixed reviews, and now sits as a crossbench peer on the House of Lords in the United Kingdom since being appointed in 2012. She's also the founder of the Film Club charity, which has since renamed as Into Film, and gave birth to her son on the last night of filming. His name appears in the credits as Best Baby. It was written by multi-Tony Award nominee Douglas Carter Beane, a playwright who also went on to write and direct the stage production of the same name that hit the stage in 2023. And Kay, you may have noticed the ambulance splash during the opening, but did you know that Steven Spielberg was sent the script and had Robin Williams cold read it to him during a flight together and was supposedly mesmerized, going on to tell the pregnant Beeban Kidron that if she needed to leave production, he would direct the film for her. Also, Viggo Mortensen was nearly cast as Vida Boheme. Yeah.
These may have been your most fun facts, Snap. This is quite fucking lovely.
This film has some like
I need fan art of Aragorn and Vida Boheme drag.
Yeah, dude.
Like I need oxygen.
Chat, make it happen.
I'm gonna tell Allie that we do need this. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah, dude. Like,
oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Oh like, wow. What, like, because I did notice the Amblin thing at the beginning, so I was like, this tracks, but I was just, I that is awesome.
Yeah.
That
so, like
that it's like, oh, we're so fucking behind this that we will like.
Imagine getting this script cold read to you by Robin Williams.
Like just that vibe, yeah. Like we were sitting on a plane next to Robin Williams, being like, "Hey, dude, I got this script. I can't be asked. Did you just read it? Yeah, just read it." What's it called, Steven? It's To Wong Foo. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
You gotta know Robin Williams did a 5-minute bit on the title alone.
Oh, dude,
and like
dude.
just
I could imagine him playing all these characters as well. Like just mental.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but like, either of you have anything you want to add to that, Steph? Do you have any fun facts on this film?
Just the sort of the uproar around the casting of these guys.
Yeah,
like that was a big deal. Particularly, I grew up in Texas, so for people who like grew up loving like Roadhouse and the Patrick Swayze who like kicks ass and then screws the bartender up against the wall and stuff like that. Like that guy, or was she a lawyer? I can't remember. Plot schmott. But I'm surrounded by, a lot of heterosexuality that's really focused on the heartthrob that is Patrick Swayze. And like him in drag, I remember uncles of mine just going off about like who blackmailed him, who forced him to do this movie and stuff. And that was just not the fucking case.
I actually saw.
Oh yeah.
So as we were saying before, Viggo Mortensen did actually audition for Vida Boheme, but Patrick Swayze earned the role by improvising a 30-minute monologue inspired by the bullying he suffered as a boy studying ballet in Texas. That's how he got the role.
See?
Oh, yeah. There we are.
So this is like
that. Texas ruins everything.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Texas.
Only great. Yeah, exactly.
It's funny. They usually call it a swing state, don't they? But like people refuse to swing in there. Like it's the whole thing.
Let's not get me started on the voter suppression in the state of Texas, because
here we are.
It's a lot.
Register to vote, everybody.
Yes, please make sure you register to vote. Please make sure Texas didn't delete you off the voter
Take away.
roll. Yeah, because they're doing that.
But there were others who were considered for roles in the film as well. So Matt Dillon, Robert Downey Jr., Rob Lowe, and James Spader. What were the other ones? And the film was actually they were sued by a golfer whose name is Chichi Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, he was so
won an undisclosed sum from Universal Pictures and Amblin after complaining that John Leguizamo's character shared the name.
Well, and that was one thing about the Chichi Rodriguez character that's so cool, because John Leguizamo is he's Puerto Rican. And there is just, there's the machismo of our Latin culture. And so to have him playing this character and just inhabiting it so flawlessly.
Oh yeah.
But it is definitely a gay man who is a drag queen, who is stunning once she gets her shit together. But yeah, no, Chichi Rodriguez was a professional golfer. And I remember this because the men in my family are big into golf. And so they were like, Chichi Rodriguez, they're holding up newspapers, is so mad about all of this because he felt like it was a personal insult, like he was being called gay.
Wait, are you saying that like this isn't a new thing that we're experiencing now in pop culture on the internet, that people like misrepresent stuff? Like, what? It's been happening.
What?
It's almost like this has always been like anytime anything
newspapers.
Since we wrote ideas down before the internet. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So no, Chichi Rodriguez was big mad.
Yeah.
And good for her.
And Chris also said in chat that Wesley Snipes casting was also a very big deal. There was a very important hip hop station in Southern California called Power 105, and the morning guy went off about Wesley Snipes doing this movie, but he has since apologized. So he must have watched the movie and realized what a gem it is.
Well, and it's also he probably got a call from Wesley Snipes going, "You want to talk about this face to face?" And then he realized,
oh yeah,
who he was talking. I'm just speculating. I don't know.
Maybe not.
But Wesley Snipes is legitimately an intimidating person because, you know, martial arts and all that. He's Blade.
Oh yeah.
But no, this cocktail of this casting, you know, you've got heartthrob Patrick Swayze, you've got action star Wesley Snipes, like Passenger 57, Rising Sun, White Men Can't Jump, all of that. Which, did you guys catch the White Men Can't Jump reference in the movie?
Oh,
So
yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was great. I thought that was fucking great.
Of course, Noxeema's the one playing basketball today. Oh, love that.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
so good. But John Leguizamo, nobody really knew him. He was just like Luigi from the Mario Brothers movie. So this was actually a big breaking out role for him.
Every time I think of that, all I think
And
about
understandably
is
so.
Luigi. No, Luigi Mario. What about you? Mario. So how many Marios are there between the two of you? That's 3. That's Luigi Mario and Mario. That is a real line of dialogue written for the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Nice. I have blocked most of it out. In fact, while I was looking at, because I did watch it growing up, because I grew up with Mario, because Nintendo kid.
Sure.
But I'm looking through John Leguizamo's. I'm like, oh, the movie. Is that Bob Hoskins? That's Bob Hoskins on the poster.
Yeah.
Okay.
That movie
like the wasted 2 casting of those two, like, because that's actually not a bad cast, but for a very bad movie.
It's so terrible.
I'm realizing now it probably makes up for the fact that like Giancarlo Esposito is an Italian man that gets cast for a bunch of Latin American roles. You had like John Leguizamo, like a Latin man being cast as an Italian. So it's like I'm realizing now that Giancarlo Esposito is just getting back at us. That's what I'm realizing.
Exactly.
It all comes back to him.
Oh, dude.
Absolutely. But before we go any further, guys, you know, all these conversations are not spoiler free. We aren't going to be doing necessarily a play-by-play, but we are talking about the film with the expectation that you've already seen it.
Yes.
It's always cool to go and watch the film and check back later. Just make sure you check back later. But even if you haven't seen the film, chances are we'll probably convince you to finally make that leap. And if you want to know what film we're going to watch in advance so you can be prepared for next week, just finish at the end. We also do links in the descriptions below to all our socials, and so you can check us out there. And if you listen all the way to the end of the episode today, we'll be revealing our next film and our next guest. But without further ado, let's get into it, guys.
Okay.
So off the top, you know, this film I think is just controlled by its characters. Like every character that appears, whether they're in it for a minute or for an hour, it's like this film is just so, it's just so crazy and filled to the brim with these characters. But Naf, we were talking off mic, and there was one character that like you and your 7 a.m. ass was like, okay, but we got to talk about the cop. And just
we need to talk about. I actually wrote it in my notes. Like, Naf, what do you want to talk about today? It says that fucking cop. Oh my god, I can't deal with like how, and we'll get to like kind of the camp of the film a little bit later as well. But I can't deal with how like they've picked this one character, and they were like, we know the audience that's gonna hate this film, and we're gonna write this character that is that audience. It's so perfect down to he has a notebook that it's just like the way he's holding it. No human being holds a notebook like that, and he's just holding it to the side like this so he can get it in cameras. Places for homos. You read it, and it's like jewelry stores, flower shops. I was just like, and the fact that he's running around with a picture.
It so well.
He plays it so well.
And he's just like angry, cross as he goes to one flower shop. Fuck, they weren't here.
yeah. Like, not that there are multiple that he went to. Like, let's check every flower shop. It was just one. All right, that's it.
I love him walking into the shops with a drawing of Vida Boheme that he made from memory. Okay,
right.
And he's literally just looking at
you
guys.
do not forget Vida Boheme's face once you have seen it.
Oh, understandable.
But like the fact that he's doing that, and then he's just like kind of sus, looking at like guys in the corner, being like.
His face sells it all. He sells it so fucking well.
And my favorite part is that it's exactly that. The men holding each other in their strong gruff of their beard, and
whirls of chest hair.
It was that part.
The gruff aftershave,
It was
the
that
baritone
part.
voice.
I was like, I know who this person is.
Right. Well, the beauty of that is because he's so gross and awful and laughably stupid up to that point. Because I mean, he gropes the shit out of Vida, and that's awful.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But then you see him at this bar, just like near tears, just imagining men having the freedom to love one another physically, and you're like, oh,
and you're like,
closet case.
Exactly. You're like, oh my God, I understand who you are now.
But then, he shows up at the small town with a gun later, and I'm like, never fucking mind.
It's like, I guess that redemption arc went nowhere.
I thought, at that point, because you have like Virgil come in and sit next to him, I kind of was half expecting them both to kind of open up and be like, should we... I don't know.
I really wanted them to kiss. I wanted there to be a scene that I had forgotten about where they just turned to each other's no.
You didn't see the after credit scene?
Oh,
like with the cameos in this movie and Wesley Snipes, this is an MCU film. This is it.
Done. And so
I love in the bar where he's got the bartender and the other two guys in the corner just kind of looking at him monologue and just to
it's
himself.
Just a lot.
And it's so sincere.
It's just that long pushing.
Yeah.
It's the pushing for me. It's just this
Spielberg.
Like continuous take, just like pushing it slowly and just seeing every extra in the bar just like turning their head to this guy who's just muttering to himself.
And it's such an uncomfortably long monologue. Like,
and it just keeps
it's like
going.
the title of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody. It is that, but it's like you've been to these bars and you've seen that person though, that you're just like, okay, I'm having a conversation with my buddy, but this is kind of interesting. Okay, he's going on for a while. Oh wow, you're still going, buddy? Yeah. And just kind of like you hit the apex of this monologue a couple sentences ago. I don't think that you've quite you didn't take much English classes, did you there, bud? And
you know what it is?
Just sort of.
Do you remember when we watched what's it called? Dix the Musical?
Oh yeah.
And it starts and it just like keeps going and going. And there's a point where me and Kay were watching this movie and we were like, it's great that this film is just constantly committing to itself and it just keeps going further and further and further. And then it hit a point where we kind of looked at each other and we were like, it's gone too far, hasn't it? Like it's gone too far. Like I don't know. I don't know.
I think that's every time I record with Chris.
Yeah.
It is that moment of like it is that it's that George Lucas. I may have gone a bit far in some places.
Yeah.
And
but
just
it's like
kind of.
I love that it opens that scene with such he's got such bitches like men in dresses, and just as it continues, like it's that slow. It's a very Spielberg type, just like slow push in. Let him cook, and it just becomes more and more sincere as it goes.
That's the thing. Every member of this cast is so sincere. Mm-hmm. Nobody is there cashing a paycheck, phoning it in, or mocking the material. Mm. Like Chris Penn fucking went for it with that monologue. It's so good. It's so uncomfortable. It's so good.
You're absolutely right. And it's one of those things that I was watching this and it may be some of my spoiler for my cinema a la carte, but this is now entered into the upper echelon of how is this not a Kinky Boots-esque musical now? Mm. How is this not I could see this and I'm like, I want this to be a 5 o'clock number. Like I want this to be like it, like this scene to just be like a full showstopper with like tap dance and everything.
Literally, like it would be so good. And
Vida Boheme gets a ballet number in honor of Patrick Swayze.
Oh, of course. Duh. Like, absolutely. It's them decorating the apartment. That's the ballet number. And so,
scene, which I can't wait to get to it as well. But like this film,
absolutely.
It made it to like, it was in the UK. It was on the West End for 9 weeks. Like, the stage production, which again, like we were saying before, it's like written and directed by the writer of this film. Like, and you watch this and it is one of those ones like similar to like the Birdcage we were talking about last time. We're like, I could see this on stage. It feels like it's larger than life, you know, and we'll get to the camp of it all as well. But like I couldn't like I love the cop in this film. Like I thought it was hilarious. And another fun fact on it is the reaction when he gropes Vida. Patrick Swayze hid a cob of corn up his pants And so he actually grabbed a corn cob, and his reaction is the reaction of the first take of grabbing the corn cob. So it's
That's awesome.
That is
think
great.
About, like, corn, right? And how it feels in your head. Like, it's just a very odd sensation. It just, like, I imagine.
I mean, not everybody's
Oh.
into the ribbed texture. I can see that.
Exactly. It's just, it's a little.
There's an instinctive
Like,
recoil.
but I need to know that it's coming. Like, you know, I need to know that part.
Because
Like-
it's polite to warn people.
Exactly. It's just,
It
I
was
want to
the
make sure we have all our
90s.
cards on the table.
But can you imagine you're Chris Penn and you've made a couple of movies, but your job now in this scene is to reach your hand up Patrick Swayze's dress and grope him, and you encounter something that feels suspiciously like maybe you just actually groped Patrick Swayze. Yeah, you're gonna do it. Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
imagine
yeah.
like Patrick Swayze wording him up before the scene as well, just like kind of messing with him, being like in his full like drag and just going up to Chris Penn in his ear and being like, by the way, it's thick like a cup of corn. I was like, oh shit. But Pat joined us in
You
chat
weren't
as well.
kidding.
St. Pat, and said this is one of his favorite movies, and that we should bring this to Broadway. So, I mean, not we
Absolutely.
should, but they should. You know, like I mean, we could.
Well,
Okay,
I'm
we
not
should
bringing
get
shit anywhere.
involved with this in the progress. But
man,
absolutely,
put me on stage as Chichi Rodriguez, bro. I am fucking there, baby. I'm fucking there.
you would
You gotta
fucking
get the
kill
wiggle in
that
your
shit.
walk. You gotta, you know.
Maybe I have
yeah.
a wiggle in my
now.
walk. What are you talking about? That's just like genetics.
That's
Nice.
absolutely,
But
absolutely.
like the film is like packed to the brim with a wide cast of side characters, and all of them have these beautiful little moments. You know, especially when you get to like the strawberry social at the end, and you get the, you know,
Oh,
like he's the nicest. I remember what she says. I don't know that I want to say it on stream, but like,
Right.
yeah,
uh,
this is like the
It's
nicest.
Yeah.
what
man
you
I've-
only
I've met
say
like
in the
32
mid-90s.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
And then that kind of last little moment, that little like, you know, I've been waiting 32 years for this. Like, may I have this dance? I was like, why have you been waiting so long? Like,
Well, also Noxeema and the old woman, though that too,
Clara.
that was. I did talk about. I wrote down that's me finding my autistic bestie. Is when we have that one hyperfixation. Naff, it's you and me. It's like it's
but
basically.
like, who's who?
Come on now.
I think I'm
I've never
Clara.
seen you
I'm
two.
Clara, absolutely. Like it's. Listen,
I'm
out of
the
the two
short
of
one.
us. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. I
Like,
didn't want to say it
it's
because I don't know if we're friends like that, but yeah.
I'm the little
yeah,
old lady.
but listen, it's
I'm the little old
it's
lady with
definitely
impeccable
that-
movie taste that we get to talk about all
Yeah.
the time. You know, that's-
correct,
that's me.
correct.
And you just like Spielberg. You
Ah.
fucking-
Son of a bitch, why'd you go there?
I
And
mean,
now
it's pumpkin spice latte of movie taste, but it's fine. You're allowed
Hey.
to enjoy what you enjoy. It's okay.
I'm correct,
This
and
is
it's
my
great.
favorite
And so I'm
moment.
like,
This is my favorite. This moment is more delicious than a pumpkin spice latte. Okay.
Pumpkin spice lattes are
listen,
great.
between this and then being called, we were in Vegas, like at post DietCon, we went over to Vegas and we were like, oh, let's go see a show, and there was this show, Zombie Burlesque. And all of a sudden, like we were sitting next to each other, dolled up, and of course, we look like a couple. And so, what ends up happening is the host and the MCs on stage, and he's like, yeah, the two gay guys over there, like the two couple over here, how's it going, Thor from Wish? And then just going.
That's actually what his name is in my phone now.
so between that and the pumpkin spice, I'm going to put that in my profile to many things. I have the pumpkin spice movie taste, but anyway, nonetheless, going with, I think, one of the most heartfelt relationships besides Noxeema and Clara, like that really touched my heart, just seeing that beautiful thing.
Mhm.
Seeing obviously you have, you know, the whole Beatrice and Vida, like just having that moment together with the two of them, and just like really just warmed like, again, it makes me cry. I know we'll talk about the moment in more detail later on, but it's just so beautiful overall. And as you guys said, like this movie just has so many of these tiny moments, but everybody gets their moment to shine. Everybody has like an arc. Everybody, even the kid with the stutter, and like that whole, this is my Bible, read and memorize.
Right.
You might want to memorize chapters.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, Beatrice. Why is the name not like clicking with me? Like
it's Carol Ann.
Carol Ann is the one.
I made a mistake. I realized it when I saw nobody react to what I said, and then I was like, shit, I got the name wrong.
She had a moment. And I was Beatrice. Sure, she did. Yeah. Why not?
Well,
and absolutely.
Is Blythe Danner, who is one of those actresses that you go, oh my God, like up there with Stockard Channing. Like, see, we can get some wires crossed there. Sure.
You know, but nonetheless, it's still,
you'll be fine.
I appreciate you. And I'm going to take that help and go on to the next topic. So with this, I know, Steph, that you wanted to talk about, and I think that we kind of already touched on it earlier, but let's fucking just dive into it. The 3 leads, these cast, these characters, like, obviously, I'm sure the part of it is the casting and all, but like, what is it about these 3? Because without these 3, there is no movie. There is that, like, if these 3 did not sell you, this whole thing flops. But like, what is it about this for you that I think that sells the whole thing?
Well, for me, I'm from the perspective of definitely knowing at least Wesley Snipes and Patrick Swayze prior to this movie. Because we were big movie watchers in my house. And so, I had seen these guys a lot. I had never seen John Leguizamo before this movie was my introduction to him. I was shocked to find out that he's in fact, a straight man. And this is not actually how he lives his life, because he does it so well. But no, the biggest thing about this was like the allyship that they showed in doing this, because there was this general reaction, at least amongst the Texas contingent, of just like, why would they do this? Who made them do this? Like, why would they? And this is 95, right? So we're not to the point of really only wanting queer actors to play queer characters. So you got these very straight, very Hollywood actors playing these characters and playing it well and using it as an exploration of their craft that honestly, I think Wesley Snipes is never given this kind of opportunity to really like chew on a character again. It's so good. And like I said, the interviews with them, like Wesley Snipes, like clearly I saw an interview with him and Bryant Gumbel. Some of you might be old enough to remember Bryant Gumbel. But Bryant Gumbel's like, so tell me about Noxeema, like trying to get Wesley Snipes to be like, oh, this character, she's so crazy, she's so over the top. And the first thing Wesley Snipes said was, she's a very good friend. And like straight to the heart of this character, like she's a good friend, she's educated in the arts, and she's a cinephile, and also she's an uptown girl. She's not going to let you get away with anything on her watch. But and this is all 3 of them really got to the heart of their characters, and that's what they wanted to talk about. I didn't find out until years later that there were almost fistfights on set between these 3 actors, Patrick Swayze and John Leguizamo in particular. Patrick Swayze talks about it in his biography. They were like, come on, bro, you want to go? But like in full drag, like they were ready to fucking fight over stupid shit, over the kind of shit that seems like a big deal when you're uncomfortable because you are in drag all day, and drag's not comfortable. And these are not professional drag performers, but they also talked in their interviews about being assigned a drag queen to prepare them for this, the experience to be as authentic as possible. And like, so then people had to wrap their minds around these big broy actors willingly interacting with not just gays, but drag gays, because drag was not mainstream at the time. At all. There's no RuPaul's Drag Race. RuPaul was like an occasional MTV personality. Like that was as far as mainstream exposure. So for them to be not only interacting with the gays, but to be interacting with like this subset niche culture within the gays, and to bring it into this art form, this life, and tell this it was just such a fucking great time as far as that with these guys. Like, I love this cast.
Oh yeah, well, and again, going that far with it, that was the thing that for me, it's like committed, but committed in sincerity, like in beauty and genuineness. Because as we talk about, like, you easily could have, and especially at 90s and like, all this stuff there wasn't this general respect around this. There wasn't this stuff there. Like, you could have easily seen people that did not take it seriously, did not do this, and didn't like, And it's really, that's why I think the movie still works. That's why the movie lasts and actually holds up better in a lot of ways, because it is done with heart and sincerity. And these characters are not, the joke isn't that they're drag queens. The joke is that they're eccentric personalities.
Yeah.
But like, it's a difference there that I think is such a beautiful, respectful way of bringing these people in. And it's just, again, it's the beauty there. Like Swayze in particular, I was like blown away by. I was just, his performance just like was just so enriching to me. I felt so weirdly seen in a lot of ways that I was like, oh, I feel you in my soul, and you didn't have to play to the rafters to do it. You just really went in. And I was like, that's really fucking hard to do in a comedy that is very laugh out loud and over the top. But then you have those moments where, and it really affected me.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're playing them as characters, not as caricatures.
That's it. Right.
And
yes.
That is definitely something they could have done, and it would have flown in Hollywood. Like, oh, these crazy drag queens now. But the fact that they actually inhabited them as people, three-dimensional people who have like backgrounds and education and family and baggage and all of that. And they look amazing and have apparently limitless wardrobes and luggage that just appears whenever you need it.
It's a bag of holding.
That's the magic.
It's like me and Keegan on our road trip for like what, a week or so. In his huge 4-wheel drive, couldn't fit our stuff in there. It's like these 3 drag queens could fit it in that little like Cadillac. It's like
right. Well, and when they transfer from the Cadillac to the truck, none of their luggage has arrived yet, but they still are able to change into like full nightgowns and stuff. They just all get into the cab of Bobby Ray's truck. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me too, because there was an Australian film that came out the year before this that actually was nominated for and won an Academy Award in 1995 before this film came out, which is The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, which Stef, have you seen?
A cock and a frock on a rock. Yeah.
Yes. So like I'm going like drag at this point because it's a very drag queen centric film, and it's like,
because it's like Guy Pearce and Chancellor Valorum and and Elrond go on a drag road trip across the Australian outback.
And it won Best Costume Design. And that movie, I actually only watched it recently, like literally like a month ago. And it also very beautiful, like very beautiful. And it's what kind of stands out about this a lot. It's like we were saying, like you've got all of these instances in which, like I suppose, you've got all of these characters that have these kind of heartfelt moments with one another, and there are all these moments throughout the film that we can talk about as well. But like one of the ones that stood out to me a lot, and one of my favorite moments in the film, was actually not even a moment that included these characters, but it's the moment with Virgil coming back and seeing Carol Ann in the dress, and I was like, the what's the word? Like the audacity, the trust, and the what's the word? Like the balls to put that scene with no dialogue. I was like, that doesn't happen today. It doesn't happen. You know, you don't have a character come back, just look at someone, realize, and walk away. And I was like, man, and like it is actually something now that I say it out loud that I did realize. It was in a film that Randall Park did last year. He had like a moment like that with one of his main characters, which I'll look up the name and I'll let you guys know in a little bit. But yeah, like it's not something that I've seen very often. It's literally probably those 2 times. This character coming back to like, this guy is the worst of the worst. I hate him. He's just had his ass kicked by Vida Boheme because Vida works out.
Because he's a shameless abuser. He's awful and he deserves it. Yeah.
It's awful. Like from the moment of Carol Ann at the start being like, oh, maybe Virgil could call some of his friends and we'll see. And then Virgil's like, let's go over here, Carol Ann. I was like, I'm uncomfortable. And then she comes back and I was like, oh, god damn. And then the adding to that, I was like, okay, so just stuff is going to happen off screen. And it's like, nope, he comes in the next scene with the spices that Vida put in here. And that little moment where he's like, "You want me to hit you?" and like flinches. I was like, "Oh my god, this guy needs to
no,
die."
he's not only an abuser, he's loving it. He's enjoying making her terrified. And so bringing that back around to where he doesn't feel safe to approach her because she's standing in her power in this red magnificent gown, just full of confidence, and just stares him down when she couldn't even look him in the eye for the rest of the movie. You're right. The temptation would be there for most filmmakers to make there be a dialogue when you're finally like confronting your abuser.
Now. Leave. You don't need to be here anymore. Like, ugh.
But all she had to say was just like, okay, bye, Virgil. And yeah, you're right. I cannot scare you anymore because you have the power of drag. And that is the power of drag.
And it is that just beauty there that just really gets it. And it's that kind of that power and that it's the empowerment that I think this film really nails with all of its characters, giving them a sense of like, whether it's going to the beauty parlor and being like, it's not just the kind of classic, oh, take off the glasses so you were beautiful inside. It's a real, genuine self-care. Exactly. Like it's do this for you. Do this because you want to feel this way, not any other reason. And it's just I loved that about it. I thought it just, especially that ending and seeing how all of the characters, even the roughnecks, like get their come up. That scene, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the whole grab just bringing him over to say, what do you say?
The love interest from Never Been Kissed has been dragged around by his dick by Wesley Snipes. Yes. That's one thing about this movie is this movie is a key piece anytime you want to play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. So many things overlap in this movie. But there's something you said there that really made me, I just realized right now in real time. The thing about this trio of drag queens that's really amazing is all they ever do for the people around them is uplift them. Even when she's dragging Michael Vartan around by his dick, it's to teach him some manners and to make him a better person. And he is. The only people that they snipe at and cut down is each other. And then they apologize. Yeah. Like they never, that energy is just for your most trusted, closest inner circle. Everyone around you, we're going to lift you up. We're going to empower you and give you permission to want more out of your life and to want more for yourself and to experience beauty and stuff like that. And that's just like, if you had told me that there was a movie that had Patrick Swayze and Wesley Snipes in it, and that was the feeling that you were going to leave the movie with, I would not understand that concept at all.
It's like how empowered through violence? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's
are we going to kick people? I mean, I'm empowered by Patrick Swayze and Walls. But I'm just saying, Roadhouse is a classic, y'all. But don't watch it with your mama.
Oh yeah. It's definitely I do remember my mom being like, you can watch these movies, but you're not watching them with me. And so sort of
and then she died.
And so I thought it was for one reason. And then she did die. And so that was the how we were just talking about 3 friends that cut each other down but then apologize afterwards?
I love you.
I wonder if I relate to that.
It was right there. It was right there.
That just came right out.
And just like your religious trauma. And so it's sort of like there, but there we are. But I love you both. And so, but anyway, going with that, like it's
Chris was saying in chat, he says, wait, am I supposed to be empowering and supporting my friends rather than ripping them down?
That's how you empower and support me, sweetheart, is you try to rip me down and then I go, oh, that's adorable. And then we move on.
Yeah. You can't rip me down anymore if I've done it myself. It's all good. But hey,
there's nothing you can say to me that's going to be any meaner than what my mom said.
There we go. Hey, likewise. And so, and
then she died.
And then she died.
So you're getting the hang of it. And
speaking about like mums being dead and making the best of things, that is kind of a concurrent theme in this film too. Like these characters are left in this place. It's not where they want to go, and they want to
crazy segue.
They want to make the best of things, and this is something that, as you said, really resonated with you. And I mean, now I can see why. Oh my god. Sorry, guys. My alarm just went off reminding me that I need to wake up today.
Cool. Man, it sucks to be on this other side of the planet, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
does.
You can come over here, bud. But but now, nonetheless, the point is that I thought that the making of things was a cool thing of this movie. Like one of those scenes that I did think was, I think I wrote down in my notes, there is nothing more LGBTQ than saying, what are we going to do with 3 days? Well, we can't do it in this drab room. And just immediately taking shit out of your bag and just like doing a Mary Poppins of this entire room.
The bewitched moment.
And I just was, yes. I was just like, this is, but to me, it spoke to a big, I don't know. I talk with NAF all the time that NAF has NAF core and I have K core. And I think that what I love with films that really hit that home is when films take a hard to articulate concept and use something, whether it's a visual, a line, something conveys. That's a really hard thing to do. And I love just the imagery of just them taking what they have in their suitcase and making this room beautiful. And to me, it's like that really inspired me because I wrote something down for my because for my birthday this year, I wrote down like a couple of things I want to focus on for next year. One of them was sometimes all you can control, like try to make the best out of even the most banal things, because sometimes all you can control is your attitude. And it's like, and that was, at least this kind of articulated that to me, is these people like saying, yeah, this sucks. Do we want to be here? Not exactly, but if we're gonna be here, might as well have some fun. And they end up creating something wholly beautiful, which I don't know, I thought was a very beautiful thing. I don't know if Steph, did you have anything like felt with that? Or
well, I mean, I totally identify with needing to decorate your personal space, as you would say. So I get that. But no, I love that they were all on board with it immediately. Like, this is a team effort. We were just arguing a minute ago, but at no point were they not agreeing that we're going to make the most of what we've got here. And I like that they each sort of did their own individual making the most of it while they're staying here in this tiny little weird ass town, which I also love that we don't know where Snydersville is.
Oh yeah.
What it's fucking unclear. State is it? Don't know. Somewhere with corn. Could be anywhere within like a bajillion square miles
in
of
Patrick
the middle
Swayze's
address. There it is.
Yeah.
But like, you've got Vida, who's like, once they get their base of operations, they get their place where they can recharge their spirits. They start going out and like they have their Say Something hat day, and they're going to go out there and sort of spread whatever it is that they do. And Vida can't help but meddle. And get involved in people's lives. So she gets the gossip immediately. Noxeema is immediately intrigued by Clara, especially when she finds a Robert Mitchum photo. And so sweetly, so kindly chases this little old lady across the town.
So great.
So sweet. And of course, she goes and you don't gotta do a Yui girl. It's okay. Just scurrying after her. But I love that they each have their own making the best of it. But it all comes back together in like this beautiful team effort that they do. That's just on good writing and on good chemistry between the three of them. And I think the only way that those three doodly dudes were going to get that kind of chemistry while wearing dresses was to occasionally need to try and punch each other in the face. Like they had to like exercise that masculinity demon and then get back into it.
They work out.
Yeah.
They do. My God, Wesley Snipes' chest. I love that. There were, that he did have a little bit of padding to fill out bras, but for the most part, just a muscular girl. And like,
with a
Noxeema. Oh, yeah.
That was also one of my favorite lines. That was one of my favorite lines was when Vida is beating up Virgil, just cutting back to the room and her being like, what if he hurts Vida, and then she's just like, oh girl, and then just Noxeema just going, works out, like she works out.
Yeah, because Chichi was definitely about to say, don't worry, Vita's actually a man, and Noxeema's like, we're not spilling that tea yet.
Yeah,
we're in the middle of bumfuck America. You can't say that right now.
Oh, exactly. It's a girl, read the room. Like,
that's not Chi-Chi's strong suit.
Yeah. Well,
for sure.
Chi-Chi struggles with that. But there was a line in there as well when Vida goes into the room with Virgil and says, like, you like to hit women. And Virgil replies back with, like, just horrible poison. Like,
some ladies need to get hit.
I was like, oh my God. And then I love that they cut to, you just hear it happening in the background and the glass breaking and then being like thrown. I was like, okay, yeah, awesome.
I love that she opened with a slap and then it was the roundhouse punch. But Patrick Swayze never lost the delicacy of Vida.
Yes.
Even in that, because, he's dabbing a tear as he's confronting him, but then throws him out the front door and just walks off. Yeah. It's the sweetest.
Yeah. It's
like
best.
You are who you are. It's not like you dropped Vida to be a man in that moment. No, Vida will kick your ass as a lady.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, and it ties into that kind of moment at the end with Carol Ann where she says, look, Carol, if you want to be friends and we're friends, there's something you need to know. And it's the Adam's apple. And just that acknowledgement.
I love the way she says it though. Adam's apple.
Yeah. It's like,
and she says it, Stockard Channing says it the same way every time. Only men have Adam's apples. What are you doing? I love it.
But
truly.
Yeah, it brings that moment like together and whole, and that's like a lot of what this movie is. And Chris has said in chat as well that the script is so good, and you ain't covering up
so good
mid 1990s Wesley Snipes bod. Nope.
Yeah. The thing about that script is it's so fast. Everybody's so clever. It could be really obnoxious that everybody is clever, because when everybody's clever, there's nobody to play off of. So then when you get them to the small town, then now we have some dynamic to play off of. But the thing about this script is you really need to watch this movie more than once, because you're going to miss shit because you were laughing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There was just a ton of stuff in there that I was like trying to write down lines, and I'm like, I can't. I'm just going to write the entire script.
The whole scene at the
that and it's just me on this page right now. Let me just fix that real quick. And
it will never make me laugh that there is this for anybody that watches this all the way through, since we are doing our video things with this as well. What's very funny is the template NAF uses for this OBS thing has a fill-in like face placeholder, so it's just this man with a beard in a gray shirt, and it just always makes me feel like when you're like talking on a walkie-talkie and the signals get crossed. It's like that sort of vibe. I'm like, whose stream did we inherit this feed from? That's this man that just keeps going in here.
Steph,
but nonetheless,
pointed out that it's Gremlins that's causing the issues, and I have realized that it's Chris, and Chris is a gremlin. So
yeah, no, that all tracks.
I was gonna say it's a weird nickname.
He's
for
a curse.
Chris, nonetheless.
Anytime that we have technical difficulties recording the podcast, Chris is there, so it's clearly his fault.
Exactly. So there we are.
Yes. Okay. Did you time code that for me?
Doing that right now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
You guys are so professional.
We try.
When we try.
What we lack in budget, we make up for in decorum. That's bullshit. That's
correct.
Bullshit. I literally just joked that my best friend's mum is dead. Like, I'm a horrible person. Which I love you so much, Kay. I'm sorry for that.
No, you're great.
Oh no,
I'll make the jokes too.
To be clear, you can apologize now.
To be clear,
card laid is a card played, baby.
You can't come back from. But no, like
once you make fun of somebody's dead mom, that's it. You're locked in.
Oh, I mean, the first time was like 2 years
that's not
ago,
the first time. I was about to say I remember the first time you made that joke, and you truly did look with like this puppy dog look of, is this okay ground to cover? And
oh my god, Naf, are you the me of this relationship? I totally did that to Chris like 20 years ago.
Like, sweetie, did you know that I was awful?
Like, am I gonna die? I'm not gonna die. All right.
It is that moment of like, and then it is that just like, I remember when he first did it, because I almost wanted to go, that's too far, and then just to make him feel horrible for just a split second. Fortunately he hasn't, and we've been friends ever since. So now it was a weird way to start off our interaction, but nonetheless, it's It is interesting, but anyway,
It's a weird thing to
forward,
say, like in the first exchange, Naf. I'm just saying.
Literally,
It
How did
was a
you even
weird
know
thing
that?
for
Were you
my
just
comment
guessing? Did you
section,
smell
yeah.
like dead mom? Like what?
I
Where did that
literally,
come
I just
from?
guessed. I was like,
It
hey,
is
so,
true.
hi, nice to see you. My name is, because we didn't go by names at the start. I was like, my name is On Second Thought. You're giving dead mom energy. Just put it out there.
And then I said, funny you should say that.
I like Spielberg.
Funny you should say that. I like Spielberg. Yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
We were, however, talking about.
Speaking of Spielberg and the excellent thought of Kraft and Robin Williams, so
Hey.
Steph,
John Jacob Jingleheimer-Smith.
Jingleheimer-Smith.
The scene with John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt in the club. No, that scene goes so fast, and because it's Robin Williams on the screen, you're going to laugh at the first thing he said. He says 5 more things.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
really, if nothing else, go back and watch that scene. Wesley Snipes, effortlessly also hilarious in that scene and for the rest of the movie. And if you're used to action star Wesley Snipes, you're not accustomed to fucking funny Wesley Snipes.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
fucking hilarious. And so this script just moves so fast and it's so clever. I recommend anybody watch it multiple times. You will find something new every time. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Especially between John Leguizamo and Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Because it gets real steamy. It's real steamy right there.
It's very like, oh,
It
my
is.
God.
I ship it. I ship it hard.
Oh,
Chris said in chat,
what
as
an
well,
icon.
I love Steph because she's my only friend that has said more fucked up shit than I have, and that makes people around us so uncomfortable. And then,
I mean, I can't argue with that.
Saint Pat said, when's the K and Naf movie coming out? And I said, the K and Naf film can't be shared in public forum.
It will be on our OnlyFans. It will be on our OnlyFilms, though.
Nice.
And so
Nice.
that's so nonetheless, that will be the case. But Neff, you were talking about, speaking of the script, and one of the things that I kind of wanted to get into as well is there's a ton of things in this film that is a misdirect, like false senses of security and things there. Like it's like the film sets you up to be safe, but then also like it will kind of turn itself on its head and then be like, oh no, you are actually safe here, but then you're not safe over here. And so I'm curious to know, like, what were some of the stuff that resonated with you about that?
Well, I think that often it's like it's moments that only really get their like flowers in like BIPOC, queer, or like women-led films, because these are the instances in which you go, oh, woman on her own walking down the alleyway, like something's gonna happen, like you just you know. And when nothing happens, it's like obviously huge relief, but just by nature of 3 drag queens driving through like the middle of America, you have it.
Which Noxeema pointed out. Like, have you met America? We cannot drive through that.
Exactly. And so, and as I said, it happens in a lot of films. It happens in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert too, where you've got these people going into like the middle of Australia where like people don't even know what drag queens are. Like it's just not a thing. And you have this expectation of what's going to happen with these characters. You've got this old man character with Chancellor Valorum that has never experienced somebody who's like trans before, you know, and the way that relationship evolves is so like heartfelt, and it is this kind of like, it's heartbreaking that the misdirect comes from just what real life is and what you expect to happen to people, you know, like it's heartbreaking. But in this film they use that to, because like we said, it's a very positive film. These people are uplifting one another for the most part. But what I thought was really interesting and what made the script stand out to me so much was that for like the first half of the film, it's like something bad's gonna happen, something bad's gonna happen, something bad's gonna happen, and only good things keep happening. You know, you only have the I should have met you guys outside, and the stone face afterwards of them being like, we're about to be kicked out. It's like the rest of you are in there, and it's the basketball people. You know, it's like, oh look, tall women. Of course they're welcome here. They're here with the basketball place. Go, white men can jump, you know, like we got this, baby. So you have all these little moments like that. And again, when they get to the town and they're kind of, for the most part, like instantly like accepted by, I suppose, like the women there. But even in the moments where you feel like, oh, these men are realizing what's happening here and they're gonna do something, you know, it may be like, I want to rip the wigs off and like just, you know, beat this person because this is a man dressing as a woman. It's like, it's not, it's literally just like men doing men things. It's not like men against like queer people, you know? It's just like
there was that
something
one
bad's
dude
gonna
who was
happen
just
because Chi-Chi is a woman.
literally right. There was that one dude in that group that was literally just rolling in the dirt.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Dude stuff. Just rolling in the dirt.
That was the funniest, especially putting it like that. You're correct. It's like, what were you on the ground for, bud? What were you on the, like, why? But it is a moment of, it does feel like going back to the theater thing. It feels like, we need levels. Can somebody just be on the ground? And then just being like, got it. What am I doing here? I don't know. Like,
it's that sort of that bait and switch, like with the scene with Chi-Chi when she gets cornered by those guys. That felt almost like a betrayal. Like, well, hold the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, this was a safe, funny movie a second ago.
Yeah.
Nothing good is going to happen. And also, what are you guys going to do? Like, town is 10 feet away. If he yells once, people are going to like,
here.
What are you guys doing? You're not very good at your sexual assault, is what I'm saying. Like,
it very much
reminds me
of Priscilla Queen of the Desert, where Guy Pearce's character has a very similar moment, but it goes very differently. Like like hate crimes, you know, hate crimes.
So,
and the fact that from there it becomes a little bit of like romantic comedy, romantic drama, a little bit. Like she's the princess who's been saved by the prince, and then they kind of go off and they have a little moment, and you know, have a little bit of Chi-Chi instead of like the Coca-Cola sign. Like those little beautiful moments. And it's I said there are so many moments that build up on your expectation, and it like subverts your expectation because you've seen this before, you've experienced it, you know. And it reminds me of like another film that does that really, really well. Because when you've seen 7 Star Wars films or 8 Star Wars films, you have expectation of what's going to happen in certain moments. And Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi was able to subvert those expectations, put them on their head. I
saw this
and give you
on the outline, and I knew exactly where you were going with it. And I was hoping you were going to subvert my expectations.
I will never.
But you were wrong. You were predictable.
I will never. We're here, baby. The Last Jedi is on my cinema a la carte.
Fair enough. And correct.
Yeah, like it builds up a bit of a false sense of security because all of these things keep happening, like bad's gonna happen, and nothing happens. We're good. And then the cop shows up and it instantly just takes all the wind out of it. And you're like, oh my God. And then again, we're back on Mr. X of like, good. And then the Chi-Chi scene and we're back here. And so it plays with that emotion so much and just keeps you hooked. And Zane in chat says, yes, Last Jedi love, so fuck you, Kay. Also, just for reference, Zane,
listen, I do.
It's Kay's favorite saga film as well. So just saying.
That is true. Like,
nice.
It's more we discovered early on that it became a bit that NAF would find a way to work. Like Last Jedi, like my favorite was at one point we did Schindler's List, and I was like, I cannot wait to see how the fuck you try to do this
and
respectfully.
I did.
And so, and he did. He did.
Nice. Well done.
I forget how, but I was deeply impressed. But nonetheless, if you could do that, you could do anything.
Yeah.
But
like
one of the subversions. Just a quick thing, and I want to get Steph's thought on this. Did anybody else get like? I love that they go for like when the cop does show up, it becomes a Western. It's like they take all of the Western tropes of like looking out the windows and like looking there. He's standing up there with this gun, and then one of the best subversions was, you know, Carol Ann walking out. I for sure thought it was Vida.
Yeah.
And it was just that moment of her taking the veil off and then just being like, oh my God, I love this I am Spartacus moment that's happening here. I love this.
Well, and that's the thing is that moment, you know, it's still small town America, right? And like, so the cop shows up and he's doing all of his ranting and he's got a gun, and there's a moment where we could easily veer into an alternate universe where the town sells them out to this clearly foaming at the mouth homophobe cop. But when they don't, and that's what the movie wants you to think. The movie wants you to dread that happening, because really nobody in town realizes what they are, because bless their hearts. Because you're expecting it, because we expect the worst, and we're expecting that this movie has been setting us up for bad things to happen throughout and then not delivering on it. Maybe this is like the third turn of that, and we always deliver on the third, right, in storytelling, but no. And so it's so much more satisfying, even like that's even more enhanced when the town stands in solidarity and love with them.
Yeah.
Just like, without even needing to see them to be like, oh, I gaze upon you, my friend, and now I think I need to stand for you. They didn't even, they were hiding. You know,
they're not even
were
in
hiding.
the like climactic moment. And I love it. Like everyone in the town is like, again, committed to that bit as well. You know, like like even like
looking amazing in red too.
Yeah, like the old man in the corner just being like, "Hey, little man, come here, give me a kiss." It's
like, that was my.
That's another scene that you need to watch over and over is trying to pick up everything everyone in the crowd is saying because it's all gold. Like especially the big dude comes up, I got your drag queen right here. Like there.
It is such a beautiful thing when you see that because as you said, it's like a gorgeous moment for everybody, and it is this empowerment that also leads to the whole Virgil thing that we were talking about before. And it's just, and I also do just love the belligerent like cop, just all the shit that he's just like saying as he's trying to get back into his car, just kind of like dog between his like tail between his legs going back to the car. Man, it's just so, this movie surprises you in all the ways. And I love one thing that I thought was also very funny was even the hooligans have pink and red appropriate color.
No, they come around, they say good afternoon. And
that was such a beautiful moment. I love just also the delivery of Wesley Snipes being like, now let me hear it. Let me hear it. And it's just, and he's Mama just like, good. Yeah, Mama taught you. And just that's
it shows particularly something that stood out for you as well, Steph, is that that kind of like love and empathy can dispel that hate. Like that's a big message of this film and something that stood out to you quite a bit. So I'd love for you to talk on that a little bit more.
So that's the thing. You know, these three drag queens have been just uplifting everyone around them. Not like that was their mission or their goal. That's just what they do. Is this aura that they have around them. But to have this in a mid-90s movie where yes, there is that we have to give you the Sheriff Dullard and his hate so that we have some kind of foil so that it's not this it's a misprint. So that we don't have this magical fantasy land where three gay men driving across the middle of America encounter no problems at all. So there does need to be something. But he brings all of that, and it's a credit to the way that the film frames him and the performance of Chris Penn. He's ridiculous. He's ridiculous and he's sad and he's just pitiful. And Virgil is just a small, mean, awful little man, ultimately. And so what we have is this wonderful dynamic where this town comes together, and rather than being like scolding them or like taking a stand against everything, they take the camp approach of a drag performance and make fun of them. They mock them, they dismiss them, and they'd be like, oh, you're so uncomfortable, that's precious. And with that sort of that gently scathing approach, they scatter and dispel and completely rob the power of that hate. And that's so interesting to me to have watched. I watched this last night, to watch that now in our current political climate in the US, where that is exactly what one political campaign is doing to the other. Just like, oh, wow, that's weird. Anyway, let's move on. Policy stuff and just dispelling it, not confronting it head on, just being like, that's a little crazy what you're doing. And so that, I just love that. That's the power of something gentle. Like not everything has to be an outright confrontation, but just to take this slightly more gentle approach to it was really cool.
It is funny how a lot of that
it's like you nullify it.
Yeah, exactly. But it is funny how a lot of that has changed since like candidates kind of swapped around. Because again, social media is like a big thing now, and one of my favorite things is seeing just these little clips come from like the HQ that are literally just like, as you said, it doesn't have like an attack on anything. It's literally just like, hey, here's a clip of this person speaking. Just enjoy this. This is unedited, and you just sit there and it's just like, this person's crazy. Like,
I'm looking at it through this lens now, and that's insane. So just to have this almost 30-year-old film. That message of dispelling hate with humor and with love still resonates now, and that's glorious. And that's one of the reasons why, though this movie is very much of its time with the casting and everything, it is timeless in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And like it's
Well, I mean, the fact that Naf and I can watch it with no necessarily context to it, it's like, and still just as much enjoy it. It's like, and not do the thing of like, oh, well, you have to understand the context of this. It's like, no, you can enjoy this just as is. Like, sure, maybe like tiny things here and there. It's like that would be adjusted today, but it's like more or less this film, even the stuff that is, it's like if you kind of understand the setting, it's like you understand. And it's like, I think that that's such a beautiful part. But Naf, you were saying, I didn't want to cut you off
you're
there.
Okay, because it touches on something that had connected with you in the film, which is a lot of like the sincerity that's in this film. You know, like this is very playful, and to Steph's point, this is very gloriously fucking camp. Sheev Palpatine would have a field day in this movie. Like, it's camp.
Oh yeah.
But while being playful, it's also respectful. And as we were saying, like there's a lot that goes into beforehand. They're getting these like, you know, big, you know, men of men from this era to play these characters and putting them in a place where, like we said, they've spent like not just a little bit of time, but quite a bit of time with their assigned drag queens to learn about it. And even from like the opening like show, you know, I feel like you could potentially put an actor just in drag and go, okay, like act like a woman and go and do this movie. You know, it wouldn't be perfect, but parts of it would work. But the opening of the film, where they're in the makeup room and they're on the stage and they're like part of the show, I don't feel that you could just put somebody in costume and go. It wouldn't make sense, you know? And
because they would stand out, because that is a stage full of actual drag queens.
Yeah,
that's RuPaul on that stage. That's Lady Bunny in the audience. Like, these are legendary New York drag queens, so they need to blend.
Yeah,
and not only blend, but look like they could win.
And so, I mean, one thing you haven't touched on yet, which I need to mention, just like in passing at least, Rachel Tensions.
Rachel Tension.
So this took me a minute to click, right? They're like, Rachel Tensions. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, oh, that's RuPaul. And then I was like, is that a Confederate flag? And I was like,
that's the thing.
Rachel
Tensions. Yes. So one thing that had this movie on my mind when we talked last time about Birdcage was that I had seen some of the young folks on TikTok got a hold of images from this movie of RuPaul in the Confederate flag dress. And they were like, how dare? Why would you ever want to wear that flag as a 6-foot+ black drag queen? Why do you think she wants to wear that flag as a dress? How many Confederate flag lovers are enjoying this portrayal? And her name is Rachel Tension. So she's going to wear the Confederate flag dress. Like, it's camp. It's a send-up.
Exactly.
That's the gag. Yeah. Anyway, they were trying to cancel RuPaul.
Well, exactly. It's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of like when Taika did Jojo Rabbit. It's like when he played like Hitler there, and people being like, oh, well, like, you shouldn't do that. It's like this thing of like you know, him being like, I'm a Maori like part Jew. Like what better way to say fuck you to this guy than play him?
Also, like, playing Hitler as a cartoonish idiot. Like,
it's a cartoonish idiot imaginary friend.
Yeah.
This is not. Yeah, I'm not. It's like it's just one of those things where I think it's hilarious. Again, I was listening to your guys' Holodeck Divas, and I think you did a great thing where saying it's like talking about like things in context and understanding like how that's so important. It's like I always get so annoyed when people without media literacy just start going after. I'm like, guys, if you took like 5 minutes to like even Google, understand the context, you can find the answer to this. But as you were saying, Nav, like the camp and the sincerity, like to me, what I resonate with stories and with stuff like this especially is it's all about sincerity to me. It's all about I think that there is a tendency in modern filmmaking to be less sincere, whether it's with humor and being sarcastic and kind of never taking itself fully seriously. But I really do think that there is power in actually taking things in, taking them seriously, but still being able to have that fun. It's like this film is done, and that's why I think sincerity is important. You can make fun of everything, but you have to have sincerity, or else there is nowhere for you to ground yourself.
Otherwise,
there's no place for us. Yeah.
Right.
And this isn't parody. This
It's
is
why the
fucking
Barbie
art.
movie works. It's why things like it's that. It's like parody is done, in my opinion, without sincerity. It's done as like, that's the point. The point is we're not being sincere about what we're saying. We're critiquing it.
Yeah, we're taking a piss.
But when you're talking about this, it's actually, it's funny, but the heart is there. And I think that's why I walked away from this film being just like, this might be one of my favorite movies like of all time, because it's just, I really love. Yeah, for sure.
You
Like,
got a
it
one
was
with
just,
the filmy coming
it
your
was
way,
just-
Stef.
I know you might be getting one of these wonderful awards over here. Just that's like going there. Oh,
Wow.
I know exactly. It used to look like something else, but we've changed the design, and so it
now
has
it only
base.
looks like
So
it
it's,
a
but
little
it's a yeah, exactly.
It's got a flare case,
as-
and that's the important part.
Exactly. We're safe. And
it's,
so but
It's a shockingly beautiful film, more than you would expect. And I think, again, similar to like your last recommendation with like Birdcage, where it's like it kind of starts as this like silly, goofy little thing, and then it's like yeah, it's still fun, but as you said, Kate, it's that sincerity that kind of keeps it. And I love that what you'd mentioned before, Kay, around how even aspects of this film and characters making the best of things, even like connected with like where you're at in life right now and what you're wanting to do. That's perfection in experiencing like media, you know, when like you have those little things that connect.
That's
you
art.
and you go, I don't understand how this came out in 1995, but I feel like it was made for me to watch right now. And that makes this film really special.
Well, and
art
that's
is a tapestry.
the thing about camp and sincerity, is that they are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Because camp is completely just over the top, not true at all, just like craziness. And then there's the sincerity. So they exist best in a balance with each other. It's like salty and sweet. Like camp and sincerity are right there.
Yeah. It's I've
Correct.
spoken with UK about this in the past, where in my head, when I think about like performances from actors, right, you have people that feel like they're acting and they're kind of just sitting on this end of the spectrum, and you kind of get closer and closer and closer to like that realism, you know, where things it feels very like naturalistic. And then it's almost like if you dial that further again, you become like what is actually real. And it is almost like there's a heightened reality. Like there are those sort of films like the kind of like Edgar Wrights of stuff that kind of like pump up like a little bit more than what you would expect.
Yeah,
It's
like
kind of
Wes
above-
Anderson and things like that.
Exactly. Where it's like Wes Anderson is dialed up, where you look at it and initially you're like, oh no, this is on their acting level, and they're on this side. Sorry, on this side of the coin, and they're acting and they're putting it on, but it's like it's gone so far past realistic that it's on this other.
We almost
We've
got
gone
back to the same.
into the camp of it all, you know, like we talk about with like Rye Lane, where it's like these characters are a little bit zany, a little bit weird, and it doesn't quite feel like they're being real, but they're being realer than they would be if they were playing it real. Does that make sense? Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, kids.
I think so.
Nice. Well done. No, I really, personally, I like this camp sincerity balance a lot. I'm very comfortable with it. When things get too real, I don't enjoy watching it. Like Requiem for a Dream shit. I don't want to look at that.
Yeah.
I watched it once. I'm good. Never again. Yeah, we're
It's
good.
one of those ones that
Felt
I'm
that.
waiting for someone to be like, this is my favorite film of all time, you should watch it, and then I'm gonna watch it.
And then
for
you
the
should
podcast.
judge them.
Yeah.
And then-
I mean, like one time
and
Kay brought Schindler's List
I-
on here as like one of his favorite films that I needed to watch, which
okay,
like,
okay,
for-
that needs to
for
be explained.
themes and context,
That-
like yes, understand.
Do you
must
just
watch.
like watching Liam Neeson have a lot of sex? Because I'm with you.
now that's fair.
No,
No, I like watching him jump over a
that's-
fence with 15 takes.
Oh,
No,
Liam.
it's like it's
gotta do it.
required watching, right? But then it's also those ones where it's like some things that are like really sad, and it's like, you know, they will still connect with people, and it's like, okay, awesome, but my heart's broken for you.
Yep. For the record, we spun a wheel of Spielberg movies, and I said as the
There, and hello,
And then
hello,
I'm-
hello.
I'm,
and we have Dead-Eyed Man here. Let me fix that.
there we are.
That's just Kay.
Yes,
God.
it's so good. Oh my God.
That's
Anybody else lose Kay? I lost Kay.
No,
It says no
that's
signal.
UK. Yeah, you lost me. Give me 1 second.
Oh.
That was that you hurt so well that my camera ran out of battery.
Nice.
Hold on.
That's what I like to hear.
It's almost there. Yep. You just hit the target right on point there.
That's what she said.
Stay on target.
She said.
The entire I gotta say, Steph, just a side note, I cannot wait to see when eventually you guys get to New Hope. I cannot wait to see what line Chris uses from the Death Star trench run as the opener.
I mean, yeah, no, it's rife. Okay, so are we good? Are we all back here? Are we good now?
We are good now.
Okay, so
you were giving us a quick anecdote on how we got to Schindler's List as the movie of the week, and then Steph has an anecdote we want to get to as well.
Absolutely. I will just use this as a quick thing. It was more for listeners who think I'm a monster. It's the which is true, but for different reasons. But the thing with the Schindler's List thing was we were on a stream and Naf had not seen a ton of Spielberg stuff. So I was like, oh, he's my favorite. I want to show you some of this stuff and prove why I'm right. And we put a ton of these films on a wheel and spun it. And while it was spinning I looked at it and said, there's only one film of this that would be really problematic if we got it. And then sure enough, it was Schindler's List. And I went,
nice.
Well, how do we make content to promote this shit with our tone?
That was a dour week.
And so that was an insane week. But anyway, Steph, your anecdote, please.
So there's one thing that you guys do, the whole premise here being like, you person, what is your favorite movie that you think everybody should see? You really, it strikes me as really brave because the answers that you get will change your perception of the person.
I watched Twilight
because I heard about that and I'm going to go back and listen to that. But no, I used to work back when I was employable. I worked in staffing, and we would send people in just sort of like cattle call interviews and stuff. And so it would be a group of people, and the client would be like, "Hey," going around icebreakers and stuff like that. And the client was asking people, "What's your favorite movie?" And people were saying the usual safe shit, right? Star Wars or whatever. But then one guy got a little too real and a little too honest in this job interview scenario and said, "Kids." Are you familiar with Kids?
No, I'm looking it up immediately.
Yeah, Google it, not on a work computer. But if you're at home.
1995 with Leo Fitzpatrick and Justin Pierce.
It's a movie that was referenced in an Eminem song, if that gives you any perspective.
Huh. Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
A Day in the Life.
Yeah, I just read the same synopsis, Naf.
So he didn't get the job, and we advised the client to stop asking that question. So
yeah,
in a job interview.
It's funny because it's something
Debbie Does Dallas would have been safer.
Oh, fucking for sure.
She said Requiem for a Dream.
Oh.
I guarantee you this guy has answered that.
Yeah.
Almost certainly.
Funny, I use it as lots of like my kind of test for people as well, because I know particularly in the film space there are a lot of different like groups of what's the word, like people and how they like connect with media and how they like some people will feel a lot of like vitriol if you don't agree with the correct answer, and so I find that like loving film and wanting to talk about film, it can be really difficult to go into a space safely because you never know what you're going to get when you have a conversation with someone who also loves film. I love movies. They go, I love movies too. And it's like,
okay, but what kind?
But it's like, it's not just what kind, but also that like, do you know how to talk about movies with somebody else that has differing opinions to you? Or do you just want to circle jerk Christopher Nolan right now? Like, what do we want to have here? And so like my litmus test.
I didn't need that mental image, but now I have it. Thank you, Nav.
You're welcome. This is what I do, baby.
But no, that's exactly what they fucking do.
There is stuff that I love, and I'll happily circle jerk a lot of things, but it's and it wouldn't be the first time. Anyway, I
love this for you. Keep going.
Yes, I love this for your journey.
I hate myself. But it's like
it's the sincerity. Lean in.
The Last Jedi on my Letterboxd top 4 is key for that because I'm like that tells me everything I need to know about you. If you're a Star Wars fan, and you want to talk with me, and I go, I love The Last Jedi, your reaction will tell me everything I need to know about whether I can like
For sure.
communicate with you.
Uh-huh.
And for reference, people in the comments, if you're listening, if you want to talk to anybody about films or about art or about anything where they may have a differing opinion to you, like the answer to somebody saying I like something that, for example, you may not like isn't ill, you're wrong, you're stupid, you're an idiot, you don't understand. It's
Right.
Can you please tell me more about that? I would love to know more. Like, hit me. And Kate and I have had conversations about that as well, because there's lots of stuff that we have differing opinions on. And sometimes, like in the case of good movies like The Last Jedi, one person can move to the other like camp. And in the case of movies like West Side Story, that doesn't happen because it's not a good movie. So
Hey, wait a minute.
like, and you're stupid. And I hate
listen
you.
here.
How dare you?
No, everything about what I just said right now is a lie. Okay? No.
But
You don't want to snap fight at each other?
Yes.
I think that's how we resolve
I
these
keep
things.
saying that's iconic. Listen, I was not a West Side Story person, but that, and like I was even dropping out of being like, felt like Spielberg was even falling off the train a bit. And then I saw his West Side Story and I went, okay, my man can cook when he wants to.
Hell yeah.
And it made me be like, so why don't you want to recently? And then just going like, but now between Fablemans and West Side, my man's back. So
He's doing good
but
stuff.
nonetheless,
Producing this. I mean, it was in 1995.
but to your point, Naf and Steph, like with that, I do think that it's important to be able to have these discussions about film and to be able to have about art, because it's a beautiful thing to be able to just, sit around and talk about this stuff and learn more about why people love the things that they do, why it goes their way. And it's, again, in the words of Ted Lasso, be curious, not judgmental.
Yeah.
And it's that thing of going, I think that that's the best way to go about art, is to be like, well, why? Oh, it's so good. And it's like, that was the line that got me hooked on the show. And I feel like that needs to be applied more to art spaces as well, just because it's important.
Yeah.
And so,
everyone is going to have different and unique perspectives and experiences on every kind of art that they come across, and their life experience is going to inform how they feel about things. And so just remember that, like, your experience isn't the universal experience. So, it is what it is.
But going with that, is there any final thoughts, like Steph, and then do you have about the film that you kind of want to wrap this up with before we head into cinema a la carte?
I do like that of all the characters that had a full arc, everybody had an arc of our three mains. But the one who had, though he will downplay it and say that he had the smallest arc, the one that for me had the most impactful arc was Chi-Chi. Because she actually grew and changed dramatically while staying true to the core of her sassy ass self. But if you see interviews with John Leguizamo, he's like, well, I was the third lead, so I had the smallest story. Like, baby, you were the last shot of the movie. You and Julie Newmar were the crown. Okay. Don't you humility me right now, sir.
And there's moments that we didn't even actually like get to within the film. And that's like the depth of his or like her, like Chi-Chi's relationship with like Bobby Ray. And even down to how
taught her how to do the eye thing.
Yeah, like we don't really get what's the word? Like the direct answer to what happens with, because it's Bobby Ray the girl and Bobby Lee's the guy, or is it the other way around? I forget.
Other way.
I think it's the other way around. Right?
Yeah. So Bobby Ray's the boy?
Yes.
Yeah. So like,
you know what? Just go with it.
Okay. So
sure.
With boy Bobby, you've got that moment where he's like, oh, we can't keep a secret from another. We can't keep a secret. And you don't have the, well, hey, I need to tell you the truth. This is what's going on. It just cuts to her coming back home sad. It's just like, did they talk about it? And then Bobby Ray, boy Bobby, didn't agree? Or was it just I can't bring myself to tell you. I'm just going to let you go and say I'm not interested, and you can have girl Bobby now. Like there's a bit of like vagueness there, and it leaves you thinking a bit, like and it's sad, like it's heartbreaking. And one of the things that I loved in terms of closing that arc for Chi-Chi was the because it had been on my mind the whole movie, and I think that's when I realized, oh, I actually am like I'm quite fruity, because I was like that foundation doesn't match her skin tone.
Exactly.
And at the end of the film, like,
I thought that too.
I'm gonna choose a foundation that matches my skin tone, and I was like, okay, cool. So like this was
that was purposeful this entire time. Yeah.
Did they just like white face my man? Like he's not white.
That was a deliberate choice by John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
He chose to do that because he's got women in his family who have a lot of self-hatred about their own ethnicity. And so they whitewash their makeup. And so that he says their makeup never matches on their face, never matches their neck. And they think it looks amazing, but it actually just looks like you hate being Latin. And so that's why he did that, because Chi-Chi does not accept herself until the very end when her face and her neck are all the same color.
Gotta love that.
Yeah.
Leguizamo's an amazing storyteller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so good.
He's like,
if you've ever seen one of his stage things, because he's a comedian, right? But his comedy takes, like, if you ever see a stage, like big stage Leguizamo show, his comedy takes a narrative form. He will take you on a journey for like an hour and a half. It's so good.
Dude,
and he's hilarious.
Some of his stand-up.
We could dive into that for like hours too. There's depth there. But Kay, what about for you? Like, any other thoughts on the film? Anything we missed? Anything you still want to touch on?
No, I think I kind of got everything covered with it. It's sincere, it's beautiful, it's hilarious, and it's just downright fun. Like, you're truly not going to have a bad time watching this movie. And I'm glad I saw it now. Wish I seen it sooner. So that's my 2 cents with it. How about you, Neff?
I mean, like, adding to that is again, it's an easy watch. It's an easy, like, what's the word? Like, pitch for somebody. Like I said, just go and watch this and be like, hey, just check this out. Just check this out. And to attest to that, like, my girlfriend came over and, like, I was halfway through the movie and she sat down and we were having dinner and watched the second half of the movie. She still had a great time with it, even having missed the whole first half. No context. Still sat down. We still laughed. We thought it was hilarious. We cried. It was beautiful. So, yeah, like, I loved it. It was a really, really great suggestion, Stef.
Yay, I win.
Yeah.
You do.
Yes,
win.
absolutely.
But, we always love to wrap up with a little game of cinema a la carte. And as a reminder, this is where we really get to show you the best way to experience this film. And this is through the metaphor of food. So the way that works is we've each prepared a menu of our own with this week's film as the main course, along with an entree to start, or an appetizer to start if you're American, a wine to pair with this film, and a dessert to complete your journey. And you get to decide which set menu you love the most. So you can let us know in the comments. But Kate, for our lovely, wonderful guest, do you want to show Stef how it's done?
Absolutely. Well, now listen here. I'm going to have you all step into cinema a la carte here. I'll show you how a solid third place looks. And that's, now here's the thing. I call this menu, I can't fix it, but the queers can. And so this is dedicated to all the ways that, whether identified or not, definitely give off fruity energy. So this is a very fruity, fruit-forward menu. But we're starting off with an appetizer that's full of fun. And while it definitely plays to the femme with additions such as Kate McKinnon and as well as like a various different people in there, Barbie is my appetizer, because you have the camp, you have the fun, it's great. And obviously Alan is very, very gay coded, so you also have him in there. And so you have a lot of these different people in there. So I definitely think this is an example of how women and queers can definitely fix it. And so with that, the entree is, of course, Julie Newmar. But I'm pairing this with a wine of another tale of friendship and bonding between two fruity men as they try to save Middle-earth from Mount Doom. I'm recommending Lord of the Rings, because we all know that Frodo and Sam did more than just like toss the ring in the fire while they were on that journey. And so
I mean, they toss the ring in the fire, if you know what I mean.
Exactly, you know. Exactly. The ring doesn't just turn you invisible. And so
it turns something invisible.
There we are.
From a certain point of view.
Sauron just goes, huh? Like, what
am I looking at right now?
Yeah, just goes, whoa!
That's how you gouge out the eye of Sauron.
Yeah,
right there.
Eye of Sauron.
Exactly.
Anyway, go on.
Saturday night.
And now for dessert is the wonderful show, the Ryan Johnson show, Poker Face. Because as we all know, Natasha Lyonne can say she's straight all she wants, but every character she plays is definitely queer coded. And so her solving all these murders and solving all these crimes around town, queers can definitely fix it. So now just to go over that again, the appetizer is Barbie, entrees Julie Newmar, wine is the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and dessert is Poker Face. All right.
That's killer. They actually, I hate you because they are pretty good choices. They are pretty good choices. What do you reckon, Steph? You want to take a crack at it?
Yeah, sure. I just found out about this format when we started, so pardon me if I don't adhere to it, but I do want to suggest some movies that are like alternate universe versions of the characters these actors played in this movie. Okay. So if you want to see what happens when Chichi Rodriguez is actually French and a dwarf, Moulin Rouge, because then you get John Leguizamo leaning heavily into the camp of that character and inhabiting it beautifully, again, with a weird voice. This is what he's good at. It is like this quirky character situation. He's so good. The greatest thing you'll ever learn. That shit. He's so good. When he only speaks it tous.
I love that he's in John Wick.
Yes, yes, and magnificent. But if you would like to see Noxeema Jackson in an alternate universe where she's still hilarious and she still has that kind of like that sass roast you, but she's also hunting vampires, I recommend Blade. Blade 1, skip 2 unless you really, really love Ron Perlman, go straight to 3. But Blade 1 is a classic, and the Noxeema pops out randomly. But if the superhero horror thing is not your bag, you could also pivot to Demolition Man, which is another Noxeema in an alternate universe where she is a psychopathic murderer in the future.
Sick.
So, gotta love that shit.
Alternate universe, though, Miss Vida Boheme, Point Break. Patrick Swayze as Bodhi. Because Bodhi wants to make everyone better. And by better, I mean richer by robbing banks. But also, find your inner strength, man, and find your freedom. And don't give in and surf that wave. Like, he's trying to uplift everyone in terrible ways. It's very alternate universe, Miss Vida.
But
Catherine Bigelow.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
It surprisingly still hits the like criteria as well, too, you know, because you still have like Wong Foo as your sort of main. We've got like a wine that pairs with it. Dessert could be like Blade. Your like entree could be like Point Break, and your main would be your wine would be Moulin Rouge. So like we've got all these pieces there.
That's a really good dish. That's a really good menu right there.
And then you go to then your leftovers. Right? Exactly. But then your leftovers that you're eating the next day is just whatever season of RuPaul's Drag Race you happen to find.
Hell yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Absolutely.
Dude.
Because the level of camp you see in this movie, y'all, it's accurate.
Dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My choices. I'm pretty happy with my choices as well. I went with the title for my set menu. When you walk into my restaurant, you're gonna say, you're gonna look at the menu, you're gonna go, I've got K's queers can fix. No, that looks disgusting. I hate that. That's horrible. And you're gonna look to the side and you're gonna see another set menu called, and it's gonna say this on the board. It's gonna say, on the road again. Because we're going with road trips, baby. So we're gonna start with your entree, your appetizer, and we're gonna come to Australia, all right, where this is the heart of it, and we're gonna watch Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Oscar-winning film, starring, again, to connect it to Kay's points, like Lord of the Rings superstar Elrond as our main character, and it's drag queens in a bus crossing the desert, going to places where drag queens weren't known to do a show in the Northern Territory. They're going from Sydney, which is just a little bit north of me, all the way to like the middle point, that little bite in the top of Australia. They're going to Darwin. It's crazy. Awesome film, filled with heart, filled with camp. It's like colorful, it's beautiful. It's a great place to start. And then we jump into like To Wong Foo, right? That's our main. We get more of that. And you'd be surprised with the parallels that these films have. Like they're very, very similar. And from there, we're going to pair Wong Foo with a Latin film by Alfonso Cuarón, which is Y Tu Mamá También. It stars Diego Luna of Star Wars fame as well. This is, I watched it last year or year before, and it became one of my...
Don't watch it with your mama.
Don't watch it with your mama. Like, for the non-Latins in the audience, Y Tu Mamá También translates to and your mother as well. So like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a line that shows up in the movie at some point, but no spoilers. It's a road trip film. 2 boys and a girl that they're both in love with, and they're going, we're going on a road trip, and they go on a road trip, and it's wonderful. We're going to close off our dessert with another road trip film that brings people together and teaches everyone something about themselves, and it is also about like uplifting one another too. And this is The Fundamentals of Caring, a Netflix film with Paul Rudd.
I do love that movie.
Yeah, where he takes on like becoming carer for a disabled kid, and they go on a road trip, and it's awesome. That being said, while you're on this road trip, if you happen to do a line of coke in a bathroom somewhere at a truck stop, that is going to be Latin History for Morons, starring John Leguizamo. An awesome live, not live, but like stage show that he did. It's available on Netflix for you to watch, and it's him giving the entire history of like Latin America and like how white people ruin everything. It's awesome, and he does it in comedic sense. And like Steph said before, the storytelling.
He's such a storyteller.
It's brilliant. He comes on stage dressed as like a professor, and he's like, "I'm doing this," and he does it like a class. It's so good. And if you happen to crash the car into a tree and then fall out of the car and eat the mushrooms that are sitting next to the tree, you might also enjoy I Saw the TV Glow, which came out this year with Justice Smith. A fantastic film. Not so much about road trips, but about what happens when you start to realize your sort of true self, but maybe don't take the reins and the control of your life, you know? It's got like kind of these subtle themes, not so subtle, but it's got themes very much of like the trans experience. And in that sense, it's incredibly beautiful. And it comes through this lens of like a early 2000s, like Buffy the Vampire type show. You know, there's this show, and these kids love the show. And is the show real or is it not? I don't know what's going on. But watch the movie. It's beautiful. So to wrap that up, it's called On the Road Again. And our entree is Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, followed with our main, Wong Foo. Wine is Y Tu Mamá También, and dessert is Fundamentals of Caring. And line of coke in the bathroom in a truck stop is Latin History for Morons, and mushrooms you found in next to the tree is I Saw the TV Glow. Those are my choices.
Very nice.
Love it.
Yes, sir.
Love it.
So you guys can let us know which one of those is your favorite and which you'll be using to watch this film in the comments. Feel free to tell Kay that his sucks. Feel free to tell Steph that hers are okay for second place. And tell me I'm
third or nothing, baby. Third or nothing.
Bad things can happen to me. Okay. Anyway. Okay, do you want to take us out?
Absolutely. And a final reminder that you can find all of our links to our individual pages in the description below. And I want to make sure that obviously, obviously most of the people in this chat, let's be honest, are from you guys. But nonetheless, would you like to plug for the like two or three people on our end? Please plug your stuff.
My gay best friend Chris and I have 2 podcasts right now, Dark Side Divas, where we're watching through all of Star Wars in chronological order, and Holodeck Divas, where we're watching through all of Star Trek in release order, because chronological order is impossible. This bitch is time travel. You can find us on all the social medias. The podcasts are anywhere podcasts are, like the Spotifys and the Apples and the shit like that. But you can find us on social media everywhere as @Darkside Divas. No, it's not an inclusive name of both shows. Darkside Divas was here first. It's got literally 10 times as many episodes as Holodeck Divas. That's just how that is. @Darkside Divas.
Hell yeah. And Kay, where can we find you, bud?
Absolutely. Well, I'm Kay. You can find me at Movie Man Opinions almost anywhere. And if you guys just want to reach out and see my opinions, they'll be there.
Yeah, so don't.
And then Naf, where can people find you? Well,
you
yeah,
can
exactly.
find me at Seen by Naf or on the one with the films pages. You usually see me there a lot. That's basically it.
Beautiful. Well, like I said, well, you know, I disagree, but nonetheless, the final reminder that you can find everybody else's individual pages as well as the link trees and everything like that in our description below, as well as there's even a Google form that you can fill out in if you have a specific creator or film that you would love to see on the podcast. You can also find One with the Films on Instagram, TikTok, and all your favorite podcasting platforms. But for now, as promised, feast your eyes on your next film of the weekly watch list.
And I'm realizing that with all the crashes, I'm hoping that this like last clip actually works. So, I mean, if it doesn't, I'll edit it and I'll tell you in the clip. I'm going to play the clip.
I can't see it.
You won't see it. You won't see it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit here.
Give me a second.
Hold on. Boom. We're good.
Everything is weird.
We'll see it.
Hey
We'll see
everyone,
it.
Zane here, or my two credits if you prefer. I do a lot of Star Wars and Lego content, as you can imagine. The boys over at One with the Films wanted me to introduce the guest for the next podcast episode. So let me just pull up my notes from NAF over here. Not seeing anything. Oh, he's calling right now. Yeah, hey Neff. Yeah, I'm just doing the intro for you. But I'm not seeing the guest. Yeah, the movie's there. Oh, I'm the guest. Since when? The whole time. No, I thought you just wanted like a recommendation for a movie you should watch that I thought was good. Okay. I mean, yeah, my calendar is free, so yeah. All right, I'll finish it up. Okay, I'll see you then. Bye. So I'm the guest. Shocking turn of events. But yeah, okay. So we'll be watching Ikiru, and looking forward to it. See you guys then.